is now.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everywhere in the world. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. We got another live presser today. Eddie Howe taking on the media ahead of the Arsenal match on Sunday. Welcome to the channel, folks. Don't forget, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Become a member if you can. Super chat if you can, if you want to. But if not, just smash the like button. It helps us out to keep growing. And there we go. Good morning, Mighty Win. Good morning, Gary. I don't know what they were telling you that there wasn't a presser. There's a presser every Friday, 3:30 in the morning for me, 9:30 in the morning for the UK folks. The confusion comes with the Champions League. That's a bit of an odd one, but a good one for me because it's not so early. It's that it looks like the club will do. It's between 12 midday and
8 p.m. It's going to be
8 p.m. But the club has chosen last time around against Barcelona to do it at 3:30. No, 4 o'clock. Yeah, you're right.
3:30, then it went at 4.
So they chose to do that. But as far as Premier League is concerned, it's always going to be today around this time on Friday. So there you go. No worries. And sometimes it's dodgy how the feed goes. You know, it's hidden here. You got to look around. But we got it anyway. And we'll bring it up whenever Eddie Howe is out there to speak. We'll bring him up and, of course, listen to him, give him our attention.
Undivided attention.
Undivided attention. Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, Gary. How's it going?
It's good, man. Going good. Yeah. It's always good after a win. Always good.
It's always good the start of the weekend.
Win.
the start of the weekend and the sun shining through the windows and
it's lovely start of the day.
All's at peace with the world. The Newcastle is a different place after the Toon have had a victory. The whole everywhere, it doesn't matter where you go. You know, some people seem to have a bounce in their step and a glint in their eye and a smile on their face. And that's the way I'm feeling today. So there you go. That's how I'm feeling.
That sounds good. It's a bit late, though. A late effect. And it's been 2 days since we played, but all right.
That's the point. It lasts until the next match.
Yeah, exactly.
Got you, man. Got you. Too early to argue. So, anyway, Eddie Howe, happy birthday, Paul Dummett, says Harpo. How's everyone celebrating? I know Win is probably going to be throwing a party out there, but you know, for Dummett Toon legend. But yeah, happy birthday though. Where's he playing at?
Down. We outgrew him.
He let us down a lot of times, actually. But
he was the Everton game was a bit of a stinker.
Yeah, so where's he playing at now? I think he's going to
Is he playing
Portsmouth? I thought he was playing at Portsmouth.
No, that was Twitchy, wasn't it?
No, did he not? Did you not go to America?
No, man. Hey, we ain't going to take him. We need proper players over here, but we ain't going to take that. Hey, come on, man. We're going to not renew his visa. We're going to send him back. Anyways, Sensible Monica's Chris, 3 games in 8 days in St. James's Park in October. Are you coming over again for this Toon feast? I actually been thinking about it heavily.
Carlisle United he's playing for.
I told Betsy we're going to go back in January. So when is the 3 games you said? In October? No, in October. They can't go in October. But I say January, you know, but around that time. We got to see how many when do we have back-to-back games, and if I can afford Mighty Win's dodgy sources, because he's going to scam me for another £1,000 per ticket. And you know, we're
listen, right, okay, let's have it out now then.
No, we don't need to have it out. We don't need to have it out.
You sort yourself out, buddy lad.
Well,
I don't need to worry about anything.
Exactly. You see, you know, he's one of them dodgy third-party websites. You know, you pay the
I tell you how good our seat. I tell you how good our seats are.
Oh, ain't that no complaint about the seat?
No.
I actually like your seat more than I like the platinum seats.
Right.
The platinum seats, I feel like you're squeezed.
And therein lies your problem, because Debbie and Finn have said they're not going to swap again.
Let me tell you something. Everybody's got a price, man. Everybody's got a price. All of that is nothing but negotiation.
No, they didn't make a penny from it. All they got was 2 platinum tickets, and because of their 2 tickets where you sat, and they don't want to do it again because our seats are better.
Anyway, let's get going then. Eddie Howe, 14 minutes away from speaking. I just saw Matt Paul Dummett's birthday, so the Toon is celebrating it. So there you go, the Newcastle United's official website. All right, then. So we got a few. We can, I guess, get started with some of the things that might come up in the presser. What do you guys think of it? The lineup is going to be interesting. He's not going to give us anything, but maybe a few things as far a few hints on a few players. I don't think there's any. Ramsey.
I would like someone to ask him, are you going to drop your top goal scorer?
Man, stop saying that, man. For the love of God, stop saying that. For your own have some shame.
3 goals, 3 games.
Have some shame, man. I get it. I actually like that somebody, Dominic Scurf, I think he's one of the
Geordie journalist.
And he put it on there on Twitter and actually said that's crazy, but nothing but facts. And it is a fact. But that's that, But now you're using that to win an argument. And I'm thinking, like, this guy is really out of his mind to say that Osula, we're lucky to keep him because he's our top scorer. Are you mad, man? It makes no sense whatsoever. It just happened to be that way, but that's not really anything to keep him for. I mean, he just scored. That's it. We didn't even have a striker at the time. Osula is not ready to be our main striker. So if I see a journalist next to me asking that, wasting a question with that, I will punch him right in his jaw, go to jail. I mean,
if you hear a
how many? Come here, you can get 24 hours. You punch somebody in the face in Newcastle, you probably get 24 hours. You get out the next day, don't you? That won't be a big deal.
Nothing like that. Yeah, they ain't no sheriffs to bail you out here.
I mean, come on, man. Waste a damn question on that. It's insane.
On what?
Stop it, man.
What's the question you're talking about?
Oh, no, Sula being our top scorer, man. Get out of here.
Well, it's a fact.
That's the same as you with your Longstaff stat. Yeah, get out of here, man.
All facts.
It's pointless. He's gonna get dropped. Obviously, Walter Mata's gonna play. If you have any doubts about that, then you're not.
No. I agree. Walter Mata's gonna play.
Okay, then. So why are you wasting a question on Osula all of a sudden?
Because they played well together.
Nah, well, yeah. Again, win. I wish somebody asked the question about playing 2 strikers again so he can knacker you again. That's not his thing, Eddie. That's not Eddie Howe's thing.
Well,
I wish I could find the presser that I wish I could find the presser. Actually, it must have been the first presser after the window. I'm gonna look it up again. I'm gonna take a look at and listen to an hour of presser because he clearly said it. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. I've done it with Alex and
the only thing I can remember Eddie saying is I wouldn't rule it out. I've done it before. That's the only thing I can remember him saying.
No, he said more or less. He said I wouldn't rule anything out. He says I've used 2 strikers before many a time. Yeah,
or words to that effect.
But actually, just think about it. He hasn't. He hasn't done that. He's put Alex and Isak and Wilson together to win the game as a sub. One of them come in and blah blah blah. But he hasn't really been a fan. How many times have you seen? Wilson. How many times have you seen him put Isak and Wilson in the starting lineup? And that's the choice that he's going to. Man, probably once or twice ever. That's it. Hey, listen, I'm not saying he would never do it, but Osula and what's his name? That means you got to take out. If poor Ilanga can't really get a game back to back with Murphy, now you're gonna put Osula on that side and knacker Ilanga and Murphy out. You can't put him on the left side. which I thought could be his actual natural position if you're gonna play him wing, because he's obviously right-footed. Actually, Osula can play, but play with both feet. But
no, I'm talking about in front of Voltemata. What we were saying last night, to get the best out of Voltemata, you've got to have players running in beyond him for him to flick the ball onto.
Well, that's gonna be,
as well as getting your own goals.
Yeah, that's gonna be Elanga and Gordon. Why are you trying to invent something now? From the guy that wanted Osula out,
indeed,
last week, all of us. So what changes? What changes?
2 goals against the mighty Bradford City.
Well, that means Joe Linton is unmovable. He can never be out ever again.
Well, I wouldn't have had him out anyway.
You're talking rubbish, man.
In the team of the round.
What do you make of it, Gary?
I don't think you'll see any change. One, because you haven't got enough depth in striker force, and as we've seen, he wouldn't even let Lascelles go for £4 million because he wants to play a 3 at the back in Europe. That's what it feels like to me. So to have your only 2 fit strikers on the field of play at the same time, I think is a risk too far for Eddie Howe. He's not a risk taker, and we've seen that with the young uns. He doesn't like to take the risk. So for me, that will never happen. It may happen when Wissa's in. You may see them play, especially if you're chasing the game. There's options there for him to drop Voltemata deep, playing in the 10 role and having somebody a little bit higher. But at this present moment in time, I can't see a change.
Exactly. I mean, it just is not going to happen. And I'm trying to remember what pressure it was, man, because I'm tired of this nonsense. But Voltemata, I don't really think Voltemata did any better with Osula on, man. It was actually Voltemata. I have a problem now because Voltemata needs to have the ball up top, fed to him, and then he can do his thing. He's starting to come down too low for me to look for the ball, and once he gets it, it's hard for him to get to get up there to make any to have it to be a threat. And so we're gonna have to work it out. Where I don't know if we need a 10. I don't know. We might
need a 10, especially. I mean, it was different against Bradford simply because when the runners came from midfield, the quality between competition in them spaces was massive. It was a mile difference. So when you've got the likes of J7 running past you, finding all that space around the penalty area, you don't get that in the Premier League. It's a nigh on impossibility to find space like that unless you're clever enough. And the one thing that I've said previously, it was a case of, do we show too much respect to our opposition? Because against Bournemouth, and everybody kept on saying that these are teams that we've got to win. We don't want to run past. We don't want to gamble with one player going, past Voltemata at the top. And there was far too much space between the top player and the midfield. And when you've got that, what that allows then, or what you expect, is one of the wingers to come narrow. And we saw that with Harvey Barnes a couple of times. But again, not got the pace to try and, compete in that back line and run past. But what I do like about Voltemata is the fact that he can hold the ball up. His link play is superb. And he's clever. It's not about holding on to the ball with 2 or 3 touches. It's about getting the first touch under control and then a quick ball left to right to bring players in. And he's also got the ability to turn. We saw him on the 180. His body movement was good. Again, it was a decent touch away from him, so he never lost control of the ball. And I think that will just grow in confidence. But I just think at the minute, what we need either Bruno Guimaraes to do exactly what he started to do over the last few games, play a little bit higher up the field. Now we've got the likes of Miley, J7 and Tonali that want to sit. They all transition in different times. And for me, the combination that seems to be working a lot more with a little bit more goal, even though they're still learning it, is Tonali and Miley. I think J7 needs to be moved a bit further forward. I think he's I know he's a spoiler and everything else, but I think when it's competitive in the middle of the park, and again, we saw his strengths against Bradford, you know, when he's got the time to compose himself in front of goal, he can get a shot off. And that is something from our midfield that we haven't done enough of. So for me, I would like to see either Bruno or J7 being the one that pushes on. And I want to see the two drop, because then you don't really need to play with a 10 direct. What you play is a high 8, and you get transitions between Voltemade drop in and the 8 going past him. And I think if you can do that on a regular basis, you've got an opportunity to get involved in and around the goal area. I also like the fact that you've got the likes of Elanga doing diagonal runs, because that upsets the balance of any defence. We've seen it with Anthony Gordon. The problem is with Anthony Gordon, he only comes to the centre. He never comes to the right-hand side. He comes left to centre and stops. Where Elanga is happy to run diagonal to the opposite corner of the box. So he really gets players on the opposition defence to think about where he's going to. And that overload down that left-hand side can be utilised to effect. But at this present moment in time, it still looks brand new. It still looks a little bit confusing to a couple of the players. But I'm hoping in a couple of more games, we should see the reap the rewards from Eddie Howe's tactic.
Let me see the super chat. I desperately need a creative 10 who can score. Exactly. I think that Barnes could be an option in there, but you got to take somebody out from the middle.
That's our very own Corey, I would imagine.
It is.
With $2.99 Australian dollars.
Or even try Bruno there. But I mean, that might be, he might be too capsuled.
I just think the trouble is with Voltemade and Bruno is pace. None of them have got that electrical pace when they get going. You know what I mean? I like a player. He doesn't have to be a speed merchant, but as long as they've got that acceleration to get that 5 yards, and if they can get the ball back under control and then start moving the ball across, then that's great. But at the minute, I just find Bruno's too much of a plodder, same as Voltemade. So are they going to make a difference? I don't think so. I think what you can do is you can have that intricate pass work where you've got the two of them sitting in the 10. And then if you've got the likes of Gordon on the outside doing a bit more of a run towards the box, you've got the channels to guide the ball through. But the one thing, like I said, for me, that's really important is to get the ball when it's passed at the right pace. Because I think at the minute, sometimes some of our passing has been so awful into that space. Even Elanga got no chance of getting it. You know, even if you've got a bloody greyhound on the field, you wouldn't get some of these balls.
Yeah. Few minutes until Eddie Howe comes out and speaks to the media, lads. So hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Help us out. You put up a poll. How many people hit the like button? 44% says we'll do it now after being reminded. Come on, that's a lot of people. So please hit the like button. Find a way to do it. It helps us a lot to keep growing. Please. And let us know what you think in the comment section.
And subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to hit that magic 8,000 shortly.
Absolutely.
Yep. Anyway, let me see here. Some comments. David T. Will Eddie overthink Arsenal's set-piece threat? Burn, Botman, Chow to start. Well, I think Chow's going to start anyway. But, man, you got Botman. I'm never a fan of doing that. Thinking of the opposition to change your lineup from game to game, week to week. But I mean, I do believe you can adjust certain things. Listen, I don't have an issue with the back, the three at the back. Don't have an issue with it. But your attitude can be go and defend, like it has been with Leeds and Bournemouth. So if the attitude is going to change, if you're going to play like you have played before against Arsenal with three at the back, attacking like you've done before last season, I don't have an issue with it. But if you're going to go and sit in the back and wait and defend, I do have an issue with that. So it's all about the attitude and the direction that Eddie Howe wants to do. You know, it's not really about the three at the back in itself. So, I mean, whatever it is, I just don't want to be a defensive team because it doesn't work. We're not for that. We're not. We're not a Simeone type a club. Unfortunately, we're not.
I think we, you know, there was a question thrown towards Pep against Arsenal the other day because it was the first time we saw Pep do a little bit of defending rather than being the aggressor. And yes, he was at the Emirates, and we know that, like, obviously Arsenal are a very strong team this season. He seems, to have got that stability within the Arsenal ranks. Like I say, it's going to be a difficult game on Sunday, but I do think they're vulnerable because they like to press Arsenal, and that's what I said. I think sometimes you have to be a little bit cagey, and if the likes of Pep Guardiola is having this mental thing that we want to do it on the break, then it's got to be a good tactic to utilise.
Let me see here. We got Eddie Howe. Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just entering the room now. I can see them just to my side, yeah.
There we go. Let's go with Eddie Howe, ladies and gents.
Morning, everyone. Okay, welcome back. Ahead of the game on Sunday with Arsenal. We'll start with Razor as usual.
Eddie, good morning. Just wanted to check firstly, is everyone okay that played the other night? No fresh injuries?
Got a couple of players to check today, see how they are. No major injuries from the game. I think everyone physically looked pretty good in the game.
Jacob Murphy wasn't part of the squad against Bradford. You'd mentioned previously that he'd been carrying an Achilles problem, I think. Is he fit and available? How's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing okay. Yeah, it's an issue that we're managing. Sometimes with Achilles tendon problems, they're sort of ongoing and players manage them. We've had several in the past few seasons who've done that. He's sort of in that place where he is fit and he's available and has been, but maybe certain days he's been quite sore, so we just try to manage his load.
And Jacob Ramsey hasn't been with you since the Leeds match with the injury he sustained there. How's his recovery going, and when are you expecting to see him back in your squad again?
Yeah, I think his recovery is going really well. He's on the grass, working hard, building his fitness back up. The plan, I think, was it would be the first game after the international break that's ahead of us. If it's any earlier than that, then of course he's ahead of schedule.
You also had Anthony Gordon back properly for you against Bradford. He did play against Barcelona, but then was still suspended at Bournemouth. How big a boost is it now that he's fully available and can hopefully really get his season started? Yeah,
it's a big boost for us to have him back fully. I think the Barcelona game, of course, was sandwiched in between his suspension in the Premier League, which was a game of, we utilised him in, but I think now that's fully over. I think he can really focus now on the few games that we have to come before the next international break. I thought he was excellent against Bradford. I thought he looked sharp. He was creative. Certainly had the right attitude to the game, and certainly helped the team deliver a good performance.
It does feel like a big game player for you because he's delivered so many times in matches against teams at the top. Could Sunday be the perfect afternoon for him if selected to help you to a big result? Yeah,
I think that we need that attitude from everybody. We need everyone to be big game players, and I think certainly when you look at our season, we're playing big games every 3-4 days. I don't think there is a small game for us. So yeah, he's someone that has done really well in those type of games. For me, a player that rises to the occasion, and as I say, we're going to need everyone to do that on Sunday.
And finally, when you play Arsenal, it's always competitive. The atmosphere is noisy. Do you think, given the way some of the matches have gone, home and away against them in recent seasons, that there is any added edge to this fixture, even if not from your perspective, from the point of view of the fans, at least?
I think it's always been competitive against Arsenal in the games that I've been here. And there has been an edge to those games because I think both teams are desperate to win. We sort of encourage that. I think the more competitive we are, the better we play. So certainly we need to bring that side of our game.
Thanks, Razor. Pete?
Eddie, you've got a great recent record against Arsenal, as Razor was just touching on there, and 3 home wins in a row. Does that enter your mind at all as you go into the game on Sunday?
I think you play these teams and the other teams in the Premier League so often that, of course, results sort of ebb and flow, and sometimes you do better against one team than you do others. I mean, our record against Bournemouth who was our last opponent in the Premier League, has been disappointing. So it was But you don't think about that going into the game. You think about this is a fresh game and a fresh opportunity to impress. So we've always had that sort of line that you draw under the past. The past isn't relevant. But you need to take whatever confidence you can positively and take that with you. So we'll look to do that. But this is a fresh game and Arsenal are a new team.
Both sides had a good summer, really, with incomings as well, didn't they? I mean, it's probably a very different-looking Arsenal team to the ones you've faced in recent seasons.
Yeah, and that's the point I was just trying to make. They're a different team, but likewise, we're a different team. And I think you go into a new season full of hope and expectation of what you can be, and we're still in that moment where we're finding out what team we're going to be. Really positive signs, I think, this season in the sense that we look solid. But against Bradford, you saw, I think, signs of the creative side of our game, and the technical side was in a really strong place midweek, and we're going to need similar.
Dan Burn and Fabian Schär for so long have been a brilliant centre-back pairing for you. You've had a chance to have a look at Sven Botman and Malik Chow. Are you excited about that partnership as well, but potentially long-term at the club?
Yeah, well, just looking individually at the players, I think Sven, for us, has been a magnificent player. You go back a couple of seasons ago, he was part of the back four that was really, really resilient and solid, and formed a brilliant back four that was playing consistently at that time because we weren't in the Champions League. And I think everyone knows Sven's qualities. The injury came at a bad time for him. He's had to work his way back. And whenever you have a long-term injury, there is a period where you have to go through a training period, for me, where you're trying to find your best form. There's been some really positive signs in the last couple of games that we're close to seeing back to his very best, and he's a massive player. And Malik in a different situation, joining a new club, but certainly he's really impressed us in the early weeks. Sassy,
about your record signing, Nick Voltemade. He made a good start here, and he showed some fantastic touches and link-up play, I thought, on Wednesday night against Bradford. A lot of fans talking about him, and how do you see him do you see him as an out-and-out 9? Do you see him more as a 10, or do you think he can do both? What's your initial thoughts? And I know it's still early days.
It's difficult to see him as a 10, since we don't play with someone in that position. So I see him as a 9, but I see him as a 9 who plays it slightly differently to other 9s that we might have had in the past. I mean, you can't compare Nick to Callum Wilson, for example. They're two totally different profiles of player. But doesn't mean they can't both be effective in the role. So it's just utilising the players to their strengths. And also, as I said so many times, getting the players to understand where Nick wants the ball and how he plays. So I was really impressed with him on Wednesday. I thought he did really, really well in a short period of time on the game, but showed his creative flair. Link played really, really well.
Finally, for me, we were talking to all managers about kickoffs. We've seen some different ones this season. I think in the Bournemouth game you mentioned, they had one. They booted it long up the middle at one point, and we saw Sandro sort of almost a rugby union style stuck it in the corner. What's your thinking behind that? It seems it's something new. What's your whole thoughts around this sort of new phenomenon, if you like?
Yeah, I think it's always been there, just maybe more talked about than previous times. I think we did very similar when I was playing all those years ago. So I think it's probably a lot's made out of it than the actual reality. Against Bradford, we just played short and we played. So I think we bespoke it to what game we're playing.
You got any more strange, wonderful kickoffs to consider?
Not really, because I don't think it's something you want to spend too much time on, because you've got so much to prepare for and so many set plays that you want to try to score off, really, that you don't want to give the players added detail.
Thanks, Pete. Andy?
Morning, Eddie. You referenced that defensive setup a few years ago that was so resilient, so solid. Do you feel like this current defensive unit, regardless of who you play, whether it's Dan and Fabian, whether it's Malik and Sven, whether this defensive unit is getting back to that sort of standard once again in 25-26?
Well, time will tell. I think that's what we want, obviously. I think when you're looking at a consistent backline, it's all about the structure that's ahead of it. That is just as important as the structure of the back four themselves. So the team function is really important, and I think we've defended our back four really well this year with the players in front. Have done a really, really good job. I've always believed in consistency of selection in the back line if you can. And of course, when we haven't been in Europe, that's been easier. I don't like chopping and changing the back four unless I absolutely have to. But I think with the games that we have, and we spoke about that a lot this season, I think that will be something that we will have to do.
Just one on Lewis Miley. I'd seen he'd been getting a little bit of stick online. Joe Linton referenced it in a post-match interview as well in midweek. How unfair do you think that is, given how young he is, but also how he's been playing and how he's developing currently at the club?
I'd be amazed if that was the case, to be honest, because I just think that would be totally unjustified. For me, Louis is an outstanding player, and he's a player we need to support and protect. And you mentioned his age, and sometimes when you look at him, you forget how young he is, because the stature of him is maturity, both on and off the pitch. But I think with all players, they need support, they need help, they need guidance. Anything other, I'd encourage the player to switch off from and just try and listen to the people that really matter in their lives. That will be family, friends. But of course us, and we will do everything we can to support him and treat him as the talent that we know he is.
Just talking about the Arsenal game on Sunday and the fact that there's been like this little bit of extra edge maybe over the last few seasons, how much do the players enjoy that extra little bit of edge in a game?
As I said earlier, I think we play better when there is that edge in our game. I say that many times. I say that to the players themselves. If we're not in that sweet spot of aggression and competitiveness, we don't play with the same way. I think we have players that really respond to that type of game. Of course, there's a balance. Depending on what style of game we're in, we need that technical composure and that creativity that you saw against Bradford midweek, which helped our performance in a different way. So I'd like to think we can navigate our way through a game and utilise all the skills we have in our psychological framework to help us win.
Just finally, Arsenal were your first opponents as Newcastle United manager, on the touchline at least, albeit down at the Emirates 4 years ago. Does it feel like 4 years ago, that?
Feels longer, I think. Yeah, that was a proud day because it was my first time on the dugout, but it was a tough day as well. And I think it sort of, looking back, paved the way for how tough it was going to be to stay in the league, because at that stage we were a long way from the team that we are today. So I think we've come a long way in a relatively short period of time, although 4 years in footballing terms is a lifetime, really. But we're still here and we're still fighting.
Thank you. Nisha?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
I know you spoke about Willis Sulu after the midweek game. I just wondered if you could give us a bit of insight into how it's been with him behind the scenes when he came so close to leaving. Is it almost a relief with what's happened with Wissa that he stayed at the club and has performed for you when you've given him the opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing with Will and the situation with him and his career in this moment was we felt, and he felt collectively, that he needed to play regularly. After last year's year of development, really behind the scenes, did a lot of work, a lot of individual work, a lot of development, really focused on all aspects of his game. I think there was a need for him to play. Of course, that move didn't happen, and I think very much to our benefit, and I think to Will's benefit as well, because he's here. And he is getting opportunities to step onto the pitch, and he's done really, really well. I was really pleased with him on Wednesday. I thought it was an excellent performance, 2 really good goals, and possibly could have been more.
Does it feel like after a slowish start to the season that momentum is beginning to build? You know, you got the win against Wolves, a good draw at Bournemouth, and that win at the midweek. Does it feel like it's starting to pick up now?
Well, we hope so. I think our performances have been there. It's sort of flipped from last year, where our performances weren't there, but we were winning games right at the start of the season. But I think we've performed strongly. I go back to Aston Villa, Liverpool, games that we didn't win, but yeah, I couldn't really fault the performance in any way. And I think we've maintained that through, but we just haven't had the sort of the goals and the wins to show how strong we've been in the games. I hope that will turn. My football experience tells me it will. But then we go and play Arsenal, which is a tough game in its own right. So a really good early season challenge for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Written guys, we'll add Sundays onto the end, so if you've got any questions you can hold back, please do. We'll start with Damien and we'll go to Mark Douglas.
Eddie,
With Nick, so much of what he does seems to be instinctive. How do you harness that individuality while trying to assimilate him into a team shape and a game plan?
Yeah, I think we try to do that well with players of similar profile, in a sense that, you know, he is creative and he is instinctive, as you say. I think it's difficult to sometimes read what he's going to do, because he's very technical based, does really well in tight areas for such a big man. But we'll find that, I think, historically we've done it, and we'll find our way again to implement certain patterns and movements that the team recognise that benefit the team, and then we can build our patterns around that. So I've seen some really positive early signs from him. I think, considering the short period he's been here, and basically in no training time with him on the training pitch, it's been just game, and so we've missed that work with him that we like to do. But I can see how he can help the team, and I'm sure we'll utilise him to create chances and score goals himself.
With Alex, when you brought him in, you talked a lot about getting him into the 6-yard box and those kind of areas. What is the focus with Nick and adapting his game to yours?
Yeah, I think like any striker, you have to be in goal-scoring areas, otherwise you won't score. So there'll be a similar theme of work with Nick, as much as he links play and builds play very well in deeper areas. When the ball's in and around the box, we'll need him where, you know, he can score goals like he did at Wolves. I think Wolves is a great example of what he can do for us. His movement was very good. The cross, of course, impacts everything, but the header and the finish was a high level. So I think that would be a good prototype.
Thank you. Mark?
Eddie, are you seeing Sunday as an opportunity for maybe a bit of a statement win, given their status and where you are kind of in the season?
Just trying to focus on preparing well, implementing a good plan, and of course trying to win the game. That's what we pride ourselves on doing every game, home and away. We'll try to win.
And St James's Park on a Sunday afternoon in this kind of game is always a bit of an arena to savour. Is that something that you think can play into your hands as well?
Always at home. I think we, whatever day we play on, they're special days. Nothing's lost on me, whether it's a midweek game, Sunday game. This will be a special game.
Thank you. I'll go to Lee Ryder, Louise Taylor and Chris Waff, please. Lee?
Eddie, do you think a game against one of the big four, you need to make a statement early in the season to sort of stick one of the big guns, if you like?
I think it's a nice phrase of question, but I think similar to what I just said, yes, we respect our opponents, but we go into every game desperate to win. I've seen that attitude from the players this season. We know we need to get our Premier League form up and running. It's early in the season, but we don't want to become detached from any group, so we're desperate to do well.
The game down at the Emirates, you actually went into that game, you could have finished second last season if you'd have won the last two games. Could that have come a little bit too early for the club where in the sort of process you're in?
No, I would have taken whatever we could have got. I actually thought we played really well there at the end of last season. It was one of those games similar to the start of this where we were very strong, performed really well, created a number of chances early in the game, didn't take them, and Declan Rice scored a wonder goal. So that was a tough defeat for us because I thought we were really strong.
Thank you. Louise?
Hi, Eddie.
Hey.
Now you've been rotating a lot more this season, and clearly you've got a stronger, broader, deeper squad. But have you changed your attitude at all towards rotation? And has James Bunce been a part of it?
No, I don't think my attitude's changed. I think 2 years ago we'd have liked to have done the same, but it was almost as we got to the point where the game started to come, we lost our strength and we lost the ability to do it. So I think you've got to be really careful with rotation, that you don't over-rotate and lose rhythm in your squad. So I think there's a real balance to it, but I think it's a case of more of looking at the individual players and seeing who is at a point where they're going into the game and not able to actually deliver their best performance. I think that's a better way of looking at it rather than thinking we're just going to rotate for the sake of rotating. We'll look at the load very carefully and try and make the right decisions on an individual basis, and then, of course, try and pick a team that's strong enough to win the next game.
And do you detect having greater competition in certain positions? Is that having a positive effect?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I think competition is really, really important for the players, as much as they might not like it, because everyone wants to play as much as they can. It can have really positive effects on your performance because you know that you've got someone else waiting to take your shirt if you drop your levels. So, again, it's all added to try and help the team and try and help us win, and that's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Louise. We've got Chris, Craig, and then Luke, please. Chris.
Morning, Eddie. You
Morning.
said after the game on Wednesday, I think it was only half jokingly, that basically you aren't training on the training pitch at the moment, and you had this experience 2 years ago. Can you just offer some insight into what that actually means in practice, and how do you, I suppose, develop someone like Nick into the team and integrate him into the team when really you're not actually fully training on the pitch? And obviously Graham Jones, I think, took a session after the game on Wednesday as well. Can you just offer a little bit of insight into how that sort of works?
Yeah, I suppose the best way of looking at it is we are, of course, training. So today we will train, but 10, 11 players will train. The guys that played on Wednesday night will be doing very, very little 2 days after the game. So we'll be taking the chance to someone like Nick, who didn't play, to get some work into him today. So it's grabbing those moments when they come. But yeah, certainly we were not training anywhere near the team training sessions, 20 players, 20 plus players. They're not happening at the moment, and they won't be happening for a long period of time because we've got a packed schedule. So it's about grabbing the moments to work the individuals when you can.
And how important is the experience of having done that 2 years ago? I mean, obviously it was different for you. I know you'd managed in the lower leagues and there was a lot more games at that point. But do you feel you've been able to tweak how you work and how the club approaches that sort of thing this year with the Champions League experience that you've got?
Of course, yeah, we look back, but I don't think it changes dramatically. It's about making sure the players recover in between games. We get the tactical information in a variety of ways. Try to be creative with that so it's not boring for the players. But we've been doing that for a long time.
Thank you. Craig?
Hi, Eddie. When we
Hi.
spoke to you down at Bournemouth last week, I think I'd said, was there more emphasis on the wingers to chip in with goals and assists, and you said, well, no, it's on everyone, and you made specific reference to the midfield. 3 days later, Joe Linton scores 2 goals. I think, encouragingly for you, Bruno actually missed a couple of chances as well. Have you been doing something different, tailored in training with regards to getting those players back in goal-scoring positions?
I'd love to say yes to you, Craig, but at the same time I just said we're not training, so not sure how that works. No, I think that I back the players in those positions that you talk about to create and to do the jobs that they've historically always done for us. Joe Linton's always picked up some big goals for us in big games. Bruno is a creative force, whether it's slightly deeper up the pitch or higher. I thought he was excellent against Bradford on Wednesday. But I think it's about the awareness. I think you make a valid point on everyone contributing, regardless of your position. Our fullbacks have to create. They've always been a huge source of either assists or goals from those deeper positions, and that's never going to change. So it's the whole team functioning, really.
And just a word on Anthony Elanga, 7 games into his sort of Newcastle career. There's been no goals or assists yet. I think obviously mitigation, given he hasn't been playing with a settled sort of front line. But how do you assess Anthony Elanga's first 7 games in these early months in the team?
Good. I think that's a harsh one to say no goals or assists, because statistically you're right, but then you look at the chances he has created, and sometimes it's not on him that players that he served haven't scored. And I always think that's a tough one. So if a player scores, so if Nick scores Jacob's cross, with a header, he gets the assist, but vice versa, if someone misses that opportunity, then that assist doesn't happen. So I think he's done his job several times in the games that he's played. Hasn't ended up in a natural goal. But I've been really pleased with his general contribution. I think he's looked a threat. I think you see what strengths he will bring. He has that raw pace and power that is so difficult to defend against. But of course, I think he can get better and he can improve, and we can help him do that as we continue to work.
Thank you. Luke, Scott and Jordan, please. Luke.
Were you aware of the Lewis Miley stuff this week? And if so, did you have a conversation with him about the criticism online?
I was aware. I haven't seen any of the comments myself because I'm not accessing that information. But it came back to me that there was something. But Louis and all the players, unfortunately, have to deal with this world that is there. If you open yourself up to it and you absorb it, then it can affect you. But I think Louis is very mature for his age. He's strong mentally, but I think it's, as I said earlier, I think it's our job to protect all the players. And I'm not talking about Louis here, I'm talking about everybody. Protect their own thoughts and their own views on themselves is so important, that players maintain their confidence when they enter the pitch and they blank out all the noise. It's important for me to do that as much as anybody else in my role. And really, I critique myself. I don't need anyone else to do it for me.
Do you I mean, you're not on social media, and you've made a conscious decision throughout your managerial career, and you were playing when it wasn't around.
It was around.
It was around, was it?
It was around, yeah.
No,
yeah, it was. Yeah, no. It was around, and I did absorb a bit.
Really? Okay.
And it didn't help me, so I cut it off.
Right. Okay.
Very quickly, because I didn't like what I was reading, even though they were probably right.
I'm not. Yeah. So, would you prefer if your players came off it? Or can you just not stop it? Is it just a generational thing where it's pointless even trying to tell them to come off?
I don't think they will come off it if you tell them to. And I don't think I have that right to do that. I would advise them probably. I'd look at it this way: if it helps you, then do whatever you need to do. But if it doesn't help you, come away from it. I think it's all about how you absorb the things you're reading. But as I said, I think it's about having a really close circle of friends and support network, family, friends, whatever it is, agents, a really close circle that you trust. And I think them together with the coaching staff, I think they're the big pillars of support you need as a player to then produce your best football. Anything else, any other opinions are really can be negative for you.
Okay, we're getting quite tight on time, especially with Sundays to come. So we're going to go to Scott, to Jordan, to Dom, and Kieran. If you can knock it down to single questions where possible, please.
Yeah, that's fine. Eddie, the last few home games against Arsenal, it does feel like Arsenal have been unsettled more against Newcastle than maybe against any other team they come up against. I know you'll say that you do specific things for every game that you play, and I do take on board that it's a different Arsenal team every time. But are there kind of specific tools that you feel have worked particularly well against Arsenal and that you lean on when you come up against them in a game like this?
I think there's things we do against every team tactically. Every game is so different. But I think Arsenal are slightly different this year tactically when I watch them play. And that's credit to Mikel, because he'll evolve his team every season, every summer. He's obviously got some new players in there as well. But yeah, of course there's things we look at, and there's things in our armoury that we will utilise. But really it's against any team. Every game is new, as I said earlier, and we've got to find our way this season. We've got to find our way to be consistent, score goals and try and win games.
Okay. Kieran and Tino have started the season as the full-backs. Lewis Hall played twice this week. Does that give you a decision to make going into this weekend, and how is Lewis Hall physically now, having come through those two games?
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be better physically for the two games. I think Lou's still building his way back up to his best physical level. I was pleased with him in different ways, probably. You look at the Bournemouth game, was a really good defensive performance from the team, and he played his part within that. And then against Bradford, he had a lot more of the ball and a lot more creative and attacking intent. And I thought he got better as the game went on. So I think good signs for him. We've still got to treat him carefully in the early stages of his comeback.
Thank you. Dom?
Morning, Eddie. So 3 centre-backs last week at Bournemouth. You've had success with that previously against Arsenal. Just how important is that adaptability to move between a back four, back three in these 3 game weeks in particular?
Yeah, we like the versatility that brings us, and we'll, as I said, we always look at the opposition and ourselves. It's not just dependent on them, it's about us as well, and what's the best balance. going into the game, and I think it's worked well for us, and also just that element of surprise. I don't like being easily read in terms of what we're going to do. We've got loads of different ways of playing. We've got loads of different systems we can utilise as long as the players understand what's expected when they go on the pitch, which I think they do. We're not afraid to use any of them.
Thanks, Tom. Kieran and then Martin.
Morning. When you think back to that first Arsenal game, how do you assess the progress the club have made since then and the work kind of still to do to, I suppose, compete with those teams, over a course of a season?
Yeah, I think a lot's changed. Just in terms of the general feeling of the club since that moment. Of course, the team's changed. I don't know the numbers in terms of what team I started with that day. But naturally, teams progress and change over time. But certainly the way we're working behind the scenes as a football club, and it's totally different. But I also think if you just look around the training ground here, when we walked around the training ground the first time we came up, it was so there's been big improvements. No, so I sidestepped that. But there's been big improvements, and that's what the club needed, and it still needs. We need more, but things will change and gradually evolve over time, and it's exciting times for the football club.
Thanks, Kieran. Martin, to finish.
Just a quick one, if you don't mind me asking there, Eddie. What grief did you get on social media? and sorry, more importantly, how did it make you feel?
No, I think it was tame. It was just, I think at that stage when I started to look at it, I wasn't playing very well. I was injuries everywhere, so I don't know what I was looking for. But I think sometimes you just, as a player, you want to sort of see the general feeling. But I quickly learned, this is only 1 or 2 games, I quickly learned that the only people that I need to really care about is myself, obviously the manager and the coaching staff at the time. They're the only ones that matter. So it was a very short experience for me, but an important one. I think that I felt that because now I'm in these shoes, I can totally sympathise with the players and try and help them, and I can understand their feelings.
Thanks, Martin. Concludes that part of the press conference. We'll move on to Sundays with an embargo of 10:30 p.m. Saturday.
You're muted, Wood.
All right. Where's my thing now?
Where's your camera gone, Chris?
Where's my camera?
There's your camera.
Anyways, folks, that was the presser right there, Eddie Howe. I guess they're going to do more media talk ahead of for Sunday, I guess, for the newspapers, maybe. Either way, we had a long presser and a lot of questions being asked. Let us know what you think about them in the comment section down below. A lot of things that he has talked about, Osula, Voltamara, social media. He said a lot of things probably were right, so that's why he ran off. So when, you see, he's telling us that we were right when we were right. You know what I'm saying? So there you go, man. It is what it is. You got to take it. You're muted, man. How many times do you have to be told this?
Anyway. I'll tell you what I did like when he was asked about Walter Moore and the rule and kind of thing like that. And it was like Faulty Towers, don't mention the war. And it was, don't mention the rat. So he said he's a completely different player to Callum Wilson.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely.
I thought that was fantastic.
Me
Don't
too.
mention the rat.
That was superb. I'll tell you what was fantastic though, guys. That to me was probably one of the best pressers we have had in a long time. One, the mics were brilliant. 2, they didn't cut off halfway through the bloody stream. It was the best pressure I've seen.
Because I tweaked something out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Yeah. Such a difference when you can hear what's being said and the response and the questions. And again, some very good positive questions from the journals this week. It seems as though everybody's been on the ball. Some great comments as well coming through during the live stream. So thank you very much for that. But again, thanks very much for Chris because he's been sorting all that out and it's worked a treat.
Well, but the obviously they sorted out the journal mics because I can't do anything about that. So,
no, well they pressed the button. You can't do anything about them pressing the button.
No, but fitness update, no injuries, which is good.
Apart from the ones we already knew, yeah. I mean, Jacob Ramsey looks like he's on the way to fitness. He's doing the hard yards on the grass now. Potentially, again, they're looking the same time as Wissa return, the international break, and then the game after. But if he gets back before, then he's above schedule. And obviously, we've still got this niggling Achilles concern.
I was going to say, it's the first time I've heard about Murphy's Achilles.
No, he's been struggling with it for some weeks, Win. It has been one of them that they've been looking after for a while.
I think it might have been that play. When was it? Against Barcelona, I think. When he came on, and then he just ran and went down for a couple of minutes. Could be that, because he looked like it was his ankle. I mean, obviously Achilles is right around the area, so it could be that. But we'll see. I mean, will he play against Arsenal? Wasn't
it interesting that the questions were about the Arsenal game? Arsenal press conference and questions about the Arsenal game.
It's because it's Arsenal, not because if it was against Luton, they wouldn't care about it. It's just, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. A good presser, says Joe Velasco, which is Velasco. You're on the West Coast, man. That is diabolical hours over there at this moment. 2 a.m. probably, so he probably on the way out to sleep. Good morning. The good presser did talk about the next game, and the Rat only mentioned the ones. Was he even mentioned? I
He didn't get mentioned, did he? Did he get mentioned?
I don't remember.
I can't remember it.
Maybe talking about the strikers, it could be. But that's the thing, because that's now Eddie Howe, every presser that he's been in, the last 2 or 3 at least, he's been mentioning that we are a new team with a different striker. And maybe hinting that we need time, and we need more time, more patience. And I buy that. I'm taking a look at that horse.
Are you going to buy that horse? About time.
I'm thinking about it, but unfortunately, when you manage a big club, you can have those excuses. That's fine, but ultimately, you still got to get the job done. Because at the end of the season, because we're losing points now, right? We're losing points now, and and Eddie Howe says that we need to get our form back in the Premier League rather quickly. And by Christmas, if things are not looking good, the pressure is only going to get bigger and bigger, heavier and heavier, thicker and thicker. So all of that new team nonsense is just going to be it's a Band-Aid on a heart attack right now. It's fine. It'll get you by for a couple of weeks, but you still got to get the job done. And we need to get points, man.
But
unfortunately,
on that question, then, Chris, did he answer it by saying he's not training with a full squad anymore? He's only training with 12 players instead of 20 plus players. So is it the fact that we are? Well, it's because of the turnover. He doesn't. Like I said, this is where Eddie Howe wraps everybody up in a bit of cotton wool, and it's all about management. And I think he got stung massively in the 23-24 season with all them injuries. And I don't know whether it's Buncey's influence that's come on board. But if you listen to what Eddie Howe, and I was going to mention to you guys,
he said the players that played on Wednesday
will only be doing light training.
Light training today.
Yeah. Nothing heavy at all. So he's only going to be working with a select few. And I think that's hindering that tactical awareness when we all come together on the game days.
That 100%. I think if that's the case, I mean, actually, I missed that completely. So, but if that's the case, then I think that's the issue why we can't just be switching formations, not even on a weekly basis, on a game by game basis, which is every 3 days, every 4 days. That's confusing the heck out of the players. They're not practicing. Again, I keep going through the same. Maybe I'm fixated, but on this thing. But Oscar Ruggeri was a center back for Argentina when they won the World Cup in '86 and beat England. Got England at the game at the World Cup with a proper goal. And
didn't use his hand that time, though.
Then use his hand. But he said, playing with 3 at the back is not easy. You got to practice that over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's why in the World Cup qualifiers they were rubbish. In the World Cup they ended up playing good, but they were rubbish because you have to practice that all the time. You can't just throw it, out of the blue. And I keep going to that to say, well, you got to practice this all the time. If the teammates are not practicing together. I mean, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that works. But then again, I'm not a professional. They are, and results will be the ultimate,
arbiter
decided.
Yeah. But it was funny because I was going to mention it last night and I forgot all about it because obviously I'd read that Graham Jones had taken a behind the scenes at St James's Park on Wednesday night training ground, and he got a bunch of the lads out there doing different things, working on different things under the floodlights because of the time schedule and the amount of games that are coming on. So the lads, and I'm not sure who it was that were doing this training session, but it just seemed a bit strange to me. You play a game and then while the lights are still on, the lads then they wait for the stadium to empty and then come back onto the field of play to do some more work. And again, I've never really heard that before from coaches doing extra sessions post a game, unless they were working on something during the game while it was fresh in the memory that they've tried to improve with all the boys being there for these rest days. Is that a situation?
I've never heard that either. I mean, you think that everybody needs to train together and know the game plan and everything else. I think I can't even. I missed that completely. By the way, when he said that, but. To me, that's actually really.
He didn't mention that in the conference. I don't think, but Gary's just.
Well, how do you know it?
Well, because it was reported yesterday.
And he did mention it, but it was brief because he said Graham took him, post game on Wednesday, but he didn't elaborate on the session.
Yeah, but I get that, but that doesn't mean that they're not training together. That's actually unheard of. I don't ever see it. I've never heard of that. The team training separated.
It was definitely reported yesterday that
I know that Graham Jones
session after the match.
Which, by the way, if I got to train after the match, you can train by yourself, man. I'm going home. Wow, what the hell? The game is over at 10 p.m. What are we doing, man? I got to go home. All of this is a bit unorthodox. I don't know. I mean, and listen, that's not even. I think the biggest of our worries is training after the game. I think it'd be boring for some players, but not training together on a weekly, on a daily basis. That's kind of odd, in my opinion. I never heard of that. But again, I guess we'll see. I mean, that's okay. That's interesting. That's a new thing, I guess. But how do you know which one is the best player? If you. And who do you choose to pick as far as center backs, for example, where we got a lot of competition? Who do you put? They're not training together. They're not. I don't know.
I mean, you always get the day off post game. That's been a common denominator from years ago. But then it goes on to like today, where the lads that played on Wednesday will only do light training, and there'll be a bunch of other lads, like 12 or so. On the field doing tactical work. And you're right, I think the biggest problem for that is how do you knit the two together? Because unless you're training the tactic together, and is that the reason, we've all criticised some of our set play work because it seems as though nobody's really orchestrating the set plays, even though now we've got this worldly set play coach. It doesn't seem to be working very well on the field of play. Is that the reason? Is that the fact that we've got so many doing tactical work and so many doing light work?
Yeah, that can't be true. I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. Never heard of that before. Predator here. Let's go some comments here, what they're saying. I think 5-4-1 is also the cover for Walter not running as much as the others. I think Walter does a good job. I think it gets too low at times. For my liking. But, he said that we're a different team and that we need to, adjust. So if that's the case, then you need to figure out, you need to build a team around Walter. And so.
Well, we need to build around Walter exactly the same way we did the Rat.
But why is that taking long?
So you can utilize his best qualities.
So
that's not going to happen overnight.
No, we did say it was going to be transitional with some new players, but you're only talking a few players that have come into the side. It's not as if you've got half a dozen.
didn't change 22 players. I mean, as a matter of fact, man. We got the same players, but only other than Ilanga, really, from time to time.
And Voltemada. That's it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously now Botman knows the system. Chow, I said, will take a couple of games before he's introduced.
He's already
he looks
good.
comfortable now. Yeah, he looks comfortable now. So, for me, you have got the makeup of the side. What
That's why I think it's a bit of
work. He's got to work on the tactics.
It's got a lot of. I'm saying that's why I think the excuse will work a few weeks, but you're gonna have to start getting results because that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. You're talking about a new squad as if you got 22 players, and that's not gonna happen. I mean, if a team truly can't just switch a center forward, and by doing that, that means that you got to take a whole season to adjust to the new center forward. I mean, that is nonsense. That is absolutely nonsense. I mean,
I do think though, when you think about the speed merchants, and we've said this even when the Rat was with us. Sometimes when the Rat come deep, and you've got the likes of Gordon's pace. I mean, obviously we didn't have Elanga then, but now we've got Elanga, so you've got pace on both sides. What we've seen happen in a couple of games already this season was when the lads have got down the line, the pace is so much that they're having to cut the balls back to the edge of the box to try and feed it to somebody running onto it, or actually do a 180 and stop the play and come back with the ball. So is it the fact that now we just have to work again in the channels that we've got because we haven't got players of speed running through from the middle into the box as target men? And Eddie was absolutely bang on when he said about what you said before. Elanga would already have 2 assists if we had somebody in the middle that could score goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Predator here saying that he only took a few players who didn't play that night to do some drills after the Bradford game. He's trying to fit in sessions and tactics in between the busy schedule. You would assume that playing many games close to each other is a good thing, because there's nothing better than a real game to be match fit, to be. I mean, obviously you're making rotations, so the other, as you said, the other guys that don't play would train. But how many are there that didn't play? And Murphy can't train, obviously. Shar wasn't training. They were all with civilian clothes, if you will, in the stands. Who else? Who else is out there that can train? The guys that didn't play is in the bench players. So Tonali was staying until 11 p.m. training. Listen, man, your best player out there, he's gonna be knackered. Come on, man. You got your best player out there doing drills at 11 p.m. at night. Come on, man. What's the matter with you? Tonight is too nice, man. I would tell you guys can F off. I'm going home.
I'm going for some spaghetti.
Exactly, man. Come on, man. What is this?
I'm going to Weatherspoons. Yeah, I'm going to Weatherspoons.
What is this, man? This the military, man. You got his training all day and night. Come on, man. That don't make no sense, man. This is a new football, though. New football, man. We managers, coaches, just trying to justify their job. Trying to create new drills and new things to do, man. Just, the ball is round, man, and you got to put it in the rectangle. It's plain and simple. Back in the day, Mighty Win, what we used to, now they got timeouts to get a drink. Before they used to time out to grab a tab real quick, light up a tab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
A glass of wine.
They used to stub them out before they came on the pitch.
Yeah. And it's a sausage roll at halftime. Come on, man.
No, orange at halftime.
Guys here says Wissa is the missing piece to the way we've always played. He plays off the shoulder. We'll see the high press attacking football when he's fit. But so, because I've seen other comments as well saying that when Wissa comes, he'll start and then Voltemada will be the backup. I mean, I just don't see that happening. I mean, I see it happening, but I think you're going to have to. What are you going to do?
I think they might switch. I'm not necessarily saying that you'll play them both all the time, every time, because as Gary says, that doesn't make sense. You've got to have one in case of injury or suspension or whatever.
And you also have to have continuity. You know, the problem is you're working with Voltemada at the moment, and he's having that game time because of injuries. That's not his fault. So the lads will be working on a system that suits both the team and the way Voltemada plays. But when Wissa comes in, he plays a totally different role. We revert back to the old school. Now that can cause confusion. It also can cause, like I say, a little bit of the wrong end of a result, if I'm honest with you. So for me, it's a case of, as we saw when we had Wilson fit with the Rats, it was a case of, do you keep the continuity? And you've heard Eddie Howe say many a time, the pressure was on him to drop him when he was scoring goals. So if Voltemada starts hitting the back of the net, even when Wissa's fit, does Wissa come straight back into the side? I don't think he does.
Well, Gregory has a good question here that we all trying to figure out, because I think any team that is successful needs to know what the system is. We don't know what the system is because the system is switching from game to game. And I think I have never heard any successful team do that. You got to have a system that's what you do, especially when you got a lot of games back to back, when there's not a lot of training involved. You got to be able to put the
it's who we are, mate.
I haven't fixed my soundboard here, but I'll get it soon. But you got to be able to plug in the players when you need to, and because it just makes no sense to be switching all the time.
Muscle memory.
No, it mean muscle memory, nothing if you can't practice it. If you don't know, I think that it would be great to see Voltemada and Wissa together. I just don't think anyone would do that.
Yeah, well, you heard him say it.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
But
you heard him say, as we don't play with the 10.
I wouldn't mind just give it a blast. Voltemada and Asula together. Drop a winger. Voltemada and Asula. Let's just have a look at that.
We ain't got to see again. You keep trying to gamble with stuff. It makes no sense, man. Stop trying to gamble.
Hey, man, I was arguing the toss last season with everybody saying that Howe should be gambling. He should be risking the young'uns and all of this. And I'm saying, look, that's points to play for. But I'm just saying,
but you're gambling when you don't have anybody.
Eyes, right?
You don't gamble. You're not. Who is going to come in if there's no striker available, man? There's no strikers available. You're gonna put Gordon again if one of them go down, or if Eddie Howe makes changes in the 60th minute, you're gonna have to take one out. Come on, man. I think that you can afford to play Wissa and Voltemada together if you got Asula on the bench. I think that will do. Exactly. I think he will. It could be. I think that will do. I think Asula is
when it'll be needed. Definitely, there'll be times when it's needed, but it won't be a winger that's dropped. It'll be a midfielder.
It's not going to happen.
So if we assume, which I think we do, that we need 3 strikers. Right?
We got 3 strikers.
But hang on. There's a lot of talk about bringing in another striker in January. Now, if by then Asula has not had the opportunity to show what he can do, either by himself, which will be unlikely if we've got the other 2 fit, or in tandem with either one of them, presumably Voltemada. How do we know we need another striker in January? And who is going to come in as a 3rd striker when they can see that up until January, Asula hasn't even had a sniff, even though when he's come in, he scored goals?
I think it's all about discussions, though, isn't it? It's selling the project at the end of the day. And you know what? I think the biggest thing for me, and somebody mentioned it right at the start of today's show, about is the rumours about Willock true? Well, if you look at the news and the gossip that's out there, Ruben Neves is touted now of being an interest of Newcastle. He's at Al Hilal. Is that a loan potential to come back to the Premier League? He's on 410,000 a week though, so there's going to be some negotiation there. And Camavinga, another midfielder. So the rule for me is, as they're looking at 2 midfielders with a little bit of scope, you yes, I'm not saying they wouldn't look at other positions like a striker, but it does seem as though the door's becoming rather open for the exit of Willock. I'm not saying no more than that. If the rumours are true, what we're hearing.
It's just who we are, mate.
Do you hear an echo there?
Just a little bit, not much. I mean, not now, but when you put that on, it did.
Not enough to matter.
But but Camavinga comes, he's starting. I'm telling you, that
Absolutely.
ain't.
Well, even Neves, I think he's a quality player. I really do. I think. I mean, he was a great person at Wolves. When you watch Wolves play, he was the kingpin that plays in that 8 really well. And again, another one, Camavinga. What a great player he would be to back up the likes of Bruno and Tonali, And then all of a sudden you're starting to see a different quality, aren't you?
Coming Bell, question for Win. So saying if we do go with Waltemata and Asula, who drops out? Tonali, Bruno, Jason, Gordon, Alanga. One of Gordon or Alanga. Take your pick.
No, but you can't do it. My God, dude. So that's what I'm saying, man. The radicals in this world need to be exterminated from the face of the earth, right? In all shapes of, in all topics of discussion. And when you're a damn radical, man, you see the twat scores 2 goals, and all of a sudden you got to drop everybody else because you got what the hell, man? He did the same thing against Bromley. He scored against Bromley. He scored. Relax, man. It's fucking hell, man. He is a good striker, good backup to the backup. Third striker that we got. It is what it is. You got Voltemada and Wilson when it comes. They're the ones that are going to be playing. Stop trying to change the whole thing now. We can't even put 2 passes together with the 3 at the back. Now you want to put Asula in.
How many times have we seen players like Willock, Barnes, Miggy go on runs? Have that purple patch, right? Well, at the minute he's 2 out of 2. Let's keep that purple patch.
You are now saying that Asula's on the purple patch. Fuck me, man. I just can't deal with this too early, man. 4:26 in the morning. This nonsense, man. I swear. It is not.
That's what you get up for, Chris.
3 goals in 3 games. That's a purple patch.
Fucking hell, man. It's
and it's against Liverpool, not just Bradford City.
Yeah. Anyways, the good thing that Eddie Howe is managing, and he has more sense than you, a little more sense than you, but more at last. And he'll put Ilanga there. Well, I don't know if he'll put it. Well, he'll probably put Ilanga because Jacob Murphy is not fit. But Jacob, Ilanga, Gordon's back.
Well,
so he's
by the way,
back.
on Jacob Ramsey. Sorry, you were talking about Jacob Murphy there, but Jacob Ramsey, I think his recovery is going really well. He's on the grass working hard, building his fitness. The plan, I think, was that his first game would be after the international break. So that's the same as Wissa.
Yeah.
And of course, he's ahead of schedule.
The main issue here is the back or the whole formation itself. How are we playing? And I think that's the biggest concern. I don't think, up front, nothing's going to change. I think it's going to be Voltemata, Gordon, and we'll see also how Gordon can play with Voltemata.
I'm quite happy that we'll have options at the back. We can vary it. You're saying you need to be rigid and all this, but do you?
Yeah, you have to have a default formation. 4-3-3 has been our default formation. That's how we play. That's how we won. We won the Carabao Cup with it. We do that. But we got to keep doing it.
But we didn't win the Carabao Cup with it. Because against Arsenal in the semi-final, we went to 5 at the back. So that was being fluid, not being rigid.
Yes, but you decided to attack. You weren't defensive as with Leeds and Bournemouth. So that is a big difference.
Because we had attackers.
It's essential. And we do now. What are you talking about? We still got the same team, bro.
Leeds.
Hey, what about Bournemouth?
Well, again,
how many chances did we create against Leeds? I want to know that. Look it up right now in your stats. How many? Two. And you're going to count that.
Too many players had off days at Bournemouth.
What? Man, okay.
I mean,
either way, it just happened that we used 5 at the back as Leeds.
we are renowned for playing poor post game against Champions League opposition. It's just Newcastle. For some unknown reason, you look at all the results. It's who we are, mate. When you look at Newcastle, it doesn't matter who we play. We have a problem. We have a problem when it comes to that next game. And again, that can only be psychological because we just don't seem to perform. But you're right. I mean, for me, the way Eddie sets up, it's very much, even if he goes to a 5 at the back or this 3 at the back now that he calls 3-5, the way his system is fluid doesn't stop you from going forward. It's only the mentality of the players within the squad. And Eddie alluded to that when he was saying about the question was, and I think it was from Pete Graves, about you must have been happy with the likes of J7 getting on the score sheet, Bruno's input with the 2 assists. And, it's against Bradford at the end of the day. But like he said, he hasn't got the time to work on those tactics. That was his next question to Craig Hope. I don't work on these tactics. It's up to the player. And that's why I went back before and said, do we as a team, when we go onto the field, show too much respect to the opposition at times and try and nullify them before we go and try and score? And the biggest problem for me, what we found on doing that is it's very difficult unless you start right to go back and do it right in the second half. What we often do, we start like a bloody fire and really get going and come out a different team because of what we want to do is defend once we've taken the lead. We very rarely look, when we don't start well, look like a team, and we've seen it last year. It was exactly the same. The Fulhams, the Bournemouths and stuff like that. If you don't start with the right attitude, we always look like a team that's going to get beat.
Well, we shall see what we're going to do Sunday. Of course, we'll be live an hour before kickoff, so stay tuned for that one at St. James's Park. So we'll be back again on Sunday, and of course, match reaction and all that jazz. So I don't think tomorrow we got anything, but never know. So just hit the like button and hit the bell for
and you'll
notifications.
find out if we come back and give you something special tomorrow.
Indeed.
And stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, everyone that's joined. Thank you, Corey, for the super chat. And go see the preview yesterday. That was good. So go check it out. And also the late night show, and check back, the shows that we do every day for you. Appreciate all your support. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. Become a member if you can, and help us support the channel. And we'll be back again at it soon. So thank you very much for your support. And how are the lads?
It's goodbye from him and him. And how
it's
are
a
the
goodbye
lads?
from them over there.
There you
Lassies
go.
and
There you go.
babes.
See you later, folks. Take care.
Take care. Have a lovely day.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.